Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is BlueMaxima and I'm here talking about this little project again. If you're already familiar with this project, just look in the description for the links that you'll need. For those of you who don't know what Flashpoint is or what I'm talking about, allow me to assist you in teaching you about this project. So, does anyone remember Flash games? I'm sure some of you out there do, but for those of you who don't, Flash was basically a platform for web development, whether it be animations for your website or just general interactive things that you could do. And people immediately took to Flash to start making games with it. And some of the games listed out here are the most popular games on the some of the most popular games on the most popular Flash website, which is Newgrounds. There were hundreds of these. There was Newgrounds, there was Congregate, there was Addicting Games, there was Armor Games, there was Albino Black Sheep, there was AntCon, which is a very popular one I found. There was Crazy Games, there still are technically, these sites are still up. But, however, these sites are due to go down, or at the very least they will very shortly, due to Adobe ending Flash support at the end of 2020. Now, this is quite a bad thing for these games, but as we can see, perhaps more significantly, Adobe doesn't appear to be offering a long-term way to access the substantial legacy of Flash content. This is my major problem. Let's actually go and play one of these games. Just one, just to demonstrate what they look like inside the browser. This is going to be quite loud, and I apologize for that, but there's not much I can do about it. But oh well. The thing about Flash is that, as you can see here at least, this is the game. My tab is muted, hang on. Thank you. Thank you, Chrome auto mute tab. I really should just unmute this by default. But anyway, the thing about Flash is that it runs inside a browser plugin. It is a separate plugin to the entirety of the rest of the browser, which comes with its own issues. Flash was known for being a bit of a security risk back in the day. This is an awesome game, by the way. Has fantastic art, controls like a dream, basically plays like a really ridiculous version of Metal Slug, and I love it to death for that. This is probably like the second Flash game I played, and I imagine a lot of people would be familiar with it as well, because I'm pretty sure this game's got something like, 20 million views on this copy of Alien Hominid alone. This game actually got to consoles and stuff as well, like, this got to the PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade. A lot of other developers actually got their start via Flash games, and a lot of developers actually moved on to the mobile game scene, which probably wouldn't exist without Flash. The usual thing that people imply is something like Crush the Castle, which is a very popular artillery-style game, which was basically a predecessor to, oh my god, which was basically a predecessor to Angry Birds. But since Flash runs inside a plugin, when Flash goes out of date, when they stop supporting it in 2020, these games probably aren't going to be playable here anymore, because an unupdated Flash plugin will mean a security risk, and a security risk means that the browsers probably won't want to keep them around. And once, say, Chrome, for example, decides to not allow you to play Flash games in it anymore because the technology is out of date, these just won't be playable. Like, Newgrounds will lose 99% of its library, Congregate will lose 95%, Armor Games will lose 95%, it'll all just disappear. So, this is where my project comes in. Let's just minimize that for the time being. My project is something called Flashpoint. Let's open up Flashpoint and take a look at what it looks like, shall we? So, Flashpoint is a collection of Flash games, downloaded from the internet via my secondary project for this project, which is Flash Freeze, which I'll get onto in a bit. And Flashpoint, when it decides it wants to load, probably because I've got something going on in the background that's sucking up all my CPU juices. Okay, hang on, I'll just pause this for the time being so that Flashpoint can load faster. There we go. So, we can see here that I have an absolute ton of Flash games handy. This is a list of 550 Flash games. Like, if I just want to use an example that we've already seen, here is Alien Hominid. Exactly as you remember it running before. but locally, more or less. I won't bother playing through the game again, I'll just let you see that to let you know that it works. So if we come back into the Flashpoint folder here, we can go into the Launchbox folder. Now, the way this actual collection works, outside of the Flashpoint thing having all the data and all the pictures and stuff here, is if we go into the games directory, then into the Flash directory, we can see a web server. Now, there are some games which will run absolutely fine if you play them straight from the hard drive. So, for example, if I wanted to play, say, 50 States. 50 States is a very simple game, which means it's great for me to just demonstrate what this is like. I have no idea where South Carolina is, because I am not American. But I actually got it in the right spot, holy hell. But yeah, you can see that that runs fine without the web server. But the web server is needed for a game like Elephant Quest. So if I try and open Elephant Quest from here, you can see that I just get a grey screen. And don't worry about that error, that's just something I use to help me troubleshoot. So you can see that I get nothing but a grey screen. And you can see here that I have it in a folder called armorgames.com. This is used by the web server to trick the Flash files into thinking that they are actually running on the proper server. So if I actually run Elephant Quest through my little collection here, and if I hit play game, we actually get further. There are some games that this works on. I run 99% of the games through the web server because it's just easier to do that. But there are games that just need it to work properly without being edited. I wanted to try and keep a lot of these games as unedited as possible just for historical preservation's sake, right? However, of course, some games I just couldn't afford to do that. So if I just have a quick look through here, eventually we'll be able to... Oh, no, I actually know one. There's a game called Stick RPG. Now, the version of Stick RPG Complete that's on, say, Newgrounds doesn't actually work right now. If you try and open it, it will throw up a "this game is site-locked" error. But, thanks to a little bit of clever editing on my part, I actually have the full version of Stick RPG working right here. I'm pretty sure it was unintended to not have it working on, say, Newgrounds or whatever, but, well, I went and fixed it. I used a Flash decompiler and I actually managed to get it to work, which was actually really weird, but there you go. I had to do that with a few games that I've come across. The thing about Flash games is that some of them had smart copy protection and some of them not so much, but you can see here that I've got 550 games. Like, I've got everything from Trials to Tower of Heaven. I've got Xenotactic, I've got The World's Hardest Game, I've got Wonder Putt, I've got the Warfare games, I have Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby. I have a lot of stuff here. A lot of these games are added via the top charts on Newgrounds and Armor Games. I also added a bunch of games that were really, not so much nostalgic, but games everyone knew about. Like Interactive Buddy, for example. Everyone knew about Interactive Buddy, and everyone knew about And the Way of the Ninja. That's a good example right there. Everybody knows about all these games. Some of them have things like high score tables and, what's the word I'm looking for? Login systems and stuff like that. None of those will work in this collection because they're running off their own web server, so don't expect them to work, unfortunately. But the games should all still be playable. For them, I believe for 99.9% of the games in here, they will work. That you'll be able to play them at least in single player. I made my best attempt at that. I feel that I really needed to make an effort to try and save these because it seemed like nobody else was going to make the effort. And if you've been working in preservation of anything for long enough, you know that wait around for an official solution from the people who make the stuff is never the right answer. I can guarantee you that much. So, the collection will be available in my Discord. I have a Discord set up for Flashpoint that is linked in the description. It will have a link to the next release of Flashpoint, which by the time this video goes up, it will be release 1.1. And you can download it, play it, request games and stuff like that. I will continue working on this collection as time permits. I have been adding games to it as much as I can recently, just for the purpose of, getting new versions out and making sure that it's all safe before everything does go down. And if you have any suggestions, questions, or comments other than the description, people, you can come to my Discord server, which I'm not actually going to show on screen. But there you go. That was a quick look at Flashpoint. You don't need as much as you needed with the previous version due to some complications with trying to release it previously. I have made it so that all you need to do this time is extract it from the Flashpoint zip and then run it via the batch file. And that should be about it. You shouldn't need to do anything else. So I figure I'll just leave the link to the Discord below and I'll let you go in there and download it as you please. You don't need to do anything else other than join the Discord in order to get the URL. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really need to tell you much else. So this has been BlueMaxima, and I will see you all next time.